So here's what the diorama looked like prior to painting. I actually have a couple of pieces there already painted because I actually created these two pieces here kind of separately, and I'm just gonna, it's basically a panel, as you can see. So this one's like created this to look like wood, and I'm basically just gonna glue it there eventually. But before I do that, I have to paint the rest of this panel. But just to give you an idea what the front look like for this Dojo Dio, but that's what it is. So there's gonna be steps going up, so this whole thing's actually raised by an inch from the bottom up to here. So total from here to the top of this is about 2 inches. That's why you have about 3 steps or 4 steps if you count this one right here. And I'm basically just gonna I made the steps to be made like a stone blocks that's been stacked. That's why I already textured it, so this one is again ready for painting. I also opt out in using stone in here just to give a different color, because the majority of this dojo building is will be brown tone because of obviously the materials are supposed to be wood on this building, so a lot of them is going to be gray tone. But I want to sprinkle a little bit of subtle color, kind of like that red kind of like ornate pattern that I made for this part of this wall panel right here, just to infuse a little bit of color. But yeah, so in terms of materials, again, this is majority pink insulation foam. This is actually one of the projects where I use a lot of balsa wood as well, and I actually kind of underestimate my my cost in here when I agreed on the price for this dojo. So now I kind of know what kind of price the balsa wood are. Like I said, I spent a lot of balsa wood on this one. So as you can see on my roof shingles in here, I use balsa wood that I basically individually cut to create this kind of like pattern, and added kind of like panel lines. So the idea there is that each one of these is a separate. I'm still debating whether to use kind of like a stone tile or just make it wood, but I'm probably gonna be doing more on the stone tile because again, just to add a different color, so kind of like differentiate the brown structure than with the roof. So eventually I'm gonna color that probably grayish tone. So here's what it looks like on the side right there. So that's the window that I made in here. I actually made that as a separate piece, and this one is not mounted in there yet. I actually just place it in there with it's being held by tape right now, just to give you an idea what it looks like. But eventually I'm gonna be installing that in this panel once this one is painted, and I'm gonna be adding some trim all around and on the other side of this to hold that much better. On the other side, it's pretty straightforward. Just kind of like a wall with some wood siding or trim, just to break the monotonous of the wall. And this is actually cracked foam, this whole white stuff that I use for my trimmings right here. And right now this one still has the paper on top of it. But once I'm ready to go on painting, I'm gonna take this thing out and I'm actually gonna texture this as well. But for now, I just leave it there because I'm not ready yet, just to protect it, because this one is actually a little bit more softer material than this one, than the pink insulation foam. So I'm gonna remove that later. So this one is it's a pretty big dio, and yeah, it's a lot of time working on this. So basically my client on this one wanted this look. He specifically wanted to have a dual-sided dio. So this is the outside, like we're looking at right now, the outside of the building. He wanted to have some sort of like roof, partial roof. So I don't know, maybe he'll put some figure on the top, ninjas or something like that, kind of like perch. I actually have my Hasbro hand ninja in here, just to give you an idea of scale. So it's a pretty pretty big size diorama. And if I go right here, you could kind of see that the inside of the dojo, let me remove this panel so you could actually see through there. So you could kind of see that it's also textured. Again, these are all like wood. It's going to be like a wood, pattern and texture. So kind of like I have like kind of like wood, like planks, kind of like all around the middle part, and then this middle part is basically kind of like just wood, like square panels. I'll probably gonna add something, another option for the owner of this dio. I'll probably make some sort of like mat that can be laid on top of this, so you'll have the option of having that. Okay, so let's kind of look over this way. So this is what it looks like inside. It looks kind of bare right now, but I'm actually gonna be adding something in here, like kind of like a pattern similar to what I have in here. So I'm gonna be creating, so basically what's gonna happen, there's like what I cut from here, like the square and all this for right here. That's what I'm gonna be using, that pieces to add there. So you can kind of see like the outline that I have in there, see? So it will look almost like embossed on the wall. So some actually the idea there is like, this one is almost like a symbol of like a clan of ninja or something. So I'm just gonna like reuse that pattern again in there. And then I'm also gonna be adding some sort of maybe some sign in here or something, or maybe Japanese scroll type stuff, so to make it look really good. I mean, I wish I could turn this thing right now, but again, this one is not really all glued together yet, although my walls right here are all magnetized. So if you see, there's actually, I have one, and then this front panel and then that side panel are all held by magnets on the sides at the bottom. And then of course I have this one big base. And then I'm probably gonna be adding another piece right here to make it look like a post on the corners, but I actually have something in the middle of this thing also, just to add support for the entire thing. Alright, so here's the completed diorama, and what you're looking at right now is the unassembled or collapsed form of this diorama. And as you can see, it has a lot of pieces and kind of occupies pretty much the entire work table here that I have. And so you can kind of see that right here is kind of like the main pieces of the diorama, and right here are the additional pieces and accessories that I created for this. And right now I would like to take the time right now to actually go over some of these items before I put this together for me to show you guys, so that you'll be able to have a little bit more idea on the details that I put on this diorama. Because again, you know, once I put this together, it'll be kind of hard to go and look closely on some of these pieces, because they'll be pretty much either hanging or will be obstructed by some of the other elements of the diorama. So I'd rather go over that right now. And so let's talk about and look at this accessories first. So, you know, as you can see right here, if you look right here, I have a couple of statues, dragon statues, that I actually end up repainting. And the same thing for this kind of like mat, bamboo mat that I added. But this is actually pieces that I got from Daiso, and I actually have a video for that you can check, and that's, I think, video number 53 in my channel, where I talked about this and you know, what they look like previously, especially for those statues. So you can check on that. And this one is steps, so stone steps. And this Dios actually had the option to be raised up by about an inch. So this will be the access. Once it's raised, you know, the base right here, for example, the base will be right here. This will be the access to go to the diorama. So that's the reason why I have this piece. I don't think I talked about this during the previous preliminary video, but anyway, it's there. And this two right here are the doors for the dojo, and it's going to be a part of like a sliding door. And they're made from acrylic sheet and balsa wood. And this one is another piece that I created. It's a little kind of like Dio furniture. So this one is actually pretty cool, and you'll see that once I put them together where it's going to be at. And then I have a couple of platforms for the interior of the dojo that the client will be able to have the option of using, you know, for, you know, to put like, for example, this dual sword holder that I also created from scratch. So for example, you know, it can be put right there, and then put it on the side wall where the scroll or something like that will be at. But anyway, you know, and the same thing here, you know, it can be put right there. So just options for display. And then I didn't talk about this in the preliminary stage as well, but during the the design process, after I made that video, the client actually requested to add a roof to this building, so kind of to make it more look like a building. So what happened is I have to create that. So as you can see, that's going to be the top or the roof of the Dio, and I just made it to look like it's wood. And actually on the back side of this, you know, instead of just making it unfinished, I decided to make it look like a almost like a arena type finish. And so the client will have the option of also using this for different purposes, or mix and match with some of the pieces right here, and be able to create different scenes. So I'll put it back here. And yeah, so these pillars are added so that it'll kind of support that, and as you can see, there'll be if this is the top, right, so this ones are gonna be, you know, going in to those low corner going down. And I added this one's right here, and this is basically what do you call this one? Like, I actually got this at the dollar store. They're like wires or sack wires or something like that. Not really wire, but sack rope. So just added a little bit more detail, make it, you know, look a little more authentic. And also, you know, for example, you know, this can be used as a punching surface. So like if you're have a scene where you could just create, like, you know, a figure kind of like training and using this as a punching wall, or in this case punching wood or something. And then I also created this swappable damage column, so the client will be able to swap one of these to this one, and you know, to create a scene where, you know, damage, or like when the figure is like fighting or something, hit this wall or hit this post and, you know, damaged it. And by the way, each of these columns have magnets at the bottom, and so that's going to be how they'll be in place, so they're not gonna topple over or fall once attached to the base or the floor. And then this one are banners that I created again from scratch, and this one right here will be the main scroll for the interior of the dojo. So it's almost like an altar or the focal point of the dojo. And basically I printed this and scale it to the size that I want, and then I actually glue this on a piece of balsa wood so that it'll be more sturdy rather than just using the paper by itself. So this one will be like permanently in this kind of like flat form, which is, you know, good, make it last longer too, more sturdier. And then right here is just basically one of those DIY straw, and then I use some of the connectors right here for the edges as the finishing end for that pole or the pipe. Then I actually use a real chain instead, you know, so that the client can hang this in the diorama. And then the same thing for this one right here. I have a couple of smaller banners that will be hanged outside the entrance of, or the front of the dojo, the exterior. And again, similar ideas, you know, I have a real chain as you know, item to hang this. And then last but not least, I created additional so remember I mentioned earlier that this one is going to be raised, option to be raised by an inch from any surface, and this will be the additional corner footing or post underneath the flooring. So you'll actually have more ideas, a better idea once I put this together and kind of show this to you guys. And this one is actually just an additional support that will be also attached at the bottom of the flooring, so that it'll be more sturdy. So yeah, so that's the accessories part. So right now let's take a quick look at the main pieces for this diorama. And so basically right here, what you're looking at is the floor or the base, and then there's 3 walls in here. This one is the front, this one is one of the side with the windows, then underneath this is the other wall. So again, you know, I pretty much try to mimic the old style Japanese building, and so I opt in using or making the exterior of this building kind of like wood. And as you can see, I try to mimic what the wood will look like, the exterior wood will look like, you know, that is exposed to the elements of the weather. And that's why you could see this kind of like weathering right here, where the bottom part kind of like, you know, oxidizes from the water sitting there and then drying out, and you could kind of see that whitish dark effect in there. So I kind of did that on all of this at the bottom. So I added the additional N3 kind of like signage in here. And then, by the way, I also created a different tutorial specifically to create this dojo diorama or dojo window, which is basically, you know, the method can be applied on any of the diorama windows that you're gonna make later on. So watch out for that video in the future. I actually have the video, I just need to put it together and upload it, probably after I uploaded the video for this dojo diorama build. Okay, and then as you can see right here at the side, I have this pieces right here, total of 3 different pieces, and this is basically the side roof of the building. You guys already know what the materials for this. I kind of talked about this at the initial design stage, I think. So yeah, and I also use a lot of magnets for this diorama. I don't have a specific number or the exact number, but I must have used at least like the 1 complete pack of those ceramic magnets just to add to this or install to this diorama. So oh yeah, and let me just go at the other side. So This is what the other side looks like for this, the interior part of the diorama. And again, this one is an additional, right here at the bottom, is an additional design feature that I added because I just felt like at the time that the interior looks kind of plain, and so I added this kind of like decorative siding at the bottom of this wall, and actually turns out pretty good. And then let's look at this other side wall as well. So in here, as you can see, this is where the main scroll is going to be at, or hanged. And then I installed this two kind of like picture or frame permanently installed in here for visual. And again, it looks, you know, pretty awesome. I like it. And I also added a permanent place or hook to hang some of the banners. And I also did that on the front, which is right here. You can kind of see right there on both sides. And also, actually, there's also a couple right here that are ready, so the client will be able to use this anywhere he wants, on the side or in the front. Alright, so what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna assemble this, and so you guys stay and watch. And that's a wrap. Again, this is Mechbay, and I thank you for watching. And as always, keep grinding on those diorama projects, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!